Jai,
Ekendra Prabhu.
Jai Mahesh Panditji.
Very well.
Krishna, Krishna.
So I replied your email.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Good.
Good.
So I
Yeah,
was,
I'm ready here. So Maharaj was not feeling well today.
he said today was busy, busy, busy.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, I can understand.
He said busy 3 times for emphasis, as is the Vedic way. So I figured he's
Oh yeah,
busy.
3 times, right. So we are lucky actually. We are starting a new chapter, and we can take it from there. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So I was just going to start kirtan unless you wanted to lead kirtan.
No, please lead. Yeah, that'll be good.
Okay. Om Ganati Mirandasya Yandana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahans Parivicharya Astotra Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahans Parivicharya Astotra Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakti Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, मायापुर नदी धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, गंगामयी जमुनामयी की जय, तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय, भगवत मदन की जय, संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय, हिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ऑल ग्लोरीज हरे कृष्ण, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवाइस हरे कृष्ण, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असेंबल्ड डिवाइस हरे कृष्ण, ऑल विश यू गुरु।
Jai, Jai. Thank you, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight for Srimad Bhagavatam class. It is Friday, July 8th, 2022. And I received a message from Jayādvaita Maharaj earlier in the day saying that he was very, very busy. Actually, he used three. He said busy, busy, busy. So 3 times for emphasis is the Vedic way. So I took it to understand that he was too busy to give class today. So very fortunately for us, earlier in the week I was discussing with Mahesh Pandit Prabhu, and he has mercifully agreed to speak with us tonight, and which is auspicious for many reasons, one of which is that tonight we're starting a new chapter of the 3rd canto. We're starting chapter 6. Maitreya is continuing to speak with Vidura, and so if you'd like to lead tonight's closing kirtan, you can let me know via direct message. That would be nice to hear from you. And also, if you'd like to give class on another upcoming occasion, if Maharaj is unable to join us, also let me know, and we can put your name on that auspicious list of class givers and expand the kirtan in that way. Thank you very much once again for joining us, and thank you so much, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu, for being willing to address the assembly tonight. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving me a chance to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. First of all, I would like to thank you, Ekendra Prabhu, for allowing me to giving a class. So Maharaj is very tired today. So I was in touch with Ekendra Prabhu, and he said anytime you would like, so I volunteer that. So I need all of your blessings, all my Zoom associates. Please bless me so I can say the right words come out from my mouth to glorify the Supreme Personality of God, Lord Shri Krishna. Thank you very much. So we are going to start chapter number 6, Creation of the Universal Form. Text number 1. Rushi Uvacha Iti Tasam Swashaktinam Satinam Asmate Saha Prasupta Loka Tantranam Nishamya Gatim Ishvara. Translation. Sri Maitreya said, the Lord thus heard about the suspension of the progressive creative functions of the universe due to the non-combination of his potencies, such as the Mahatattva. Purport. There is nothing wanting in the creation of the Lord. All the potencies are there in a dormant state. But unless they are combined by the will of the Lord, nothing can progress. The suspended progressive work of creation can only be received by the direction of the Lord. Om Abhyan Tiviranandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Paramanand Madhum Shri Chaitanya Shri Guru Jintavina. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So am I clear? Can you hear me okay? Yogendra Prabhu?
Everything's perfect, Prabhu.
Good, thanks. So when I read this translation, I had no idea what it's saying. Sri Rishi Maitreya said, the Lord thus heard about the suspension of the progressive creative function of the universe due to the non-combination of his potencies, such as the Mahatattva. So I have no idea what Prabhupada like to say, but as Ekendra Prabhu, if you can read translation from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur
Sure.
and purport, please.
Sure. He puts verses 1 and 2 together, as sometimes he combines them differently. And he gives quite a longer purport. So the two verses together, 1 and 2, Maitreya said, seeing the sleeping state in creating the universe, because the elements were unmixed, the Lord, first by his energy of cohesion, appearing through time, and then as Antaryami, entered the 23 elements simultaneously.
That's the second verse, okay.
That's 1 and 2 together.
Okay, yeah, right. I can see that, yes.
And he's got quite a long purports, 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, and he's quoting from different Shastras, Upanishads. And did you want me to read some of that, or?
Let's go further. Let's go what he says right now. Then I'll ask you to read something. Okay. The thing I got from this verse is all these things were there for the creation in a dormant stage. In a dormant state, yeah. But unless they are combined by the will of the Lord, nothing can progress. So we can see from purport, by Prabhupada purport, we can see that nothing happens unless Krishna sanctions it or he glances over it. Nothing happens otherwise. It says not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. So you can see that it's interesting how atheistic people think that they are doing everything by themselves, but they have no idea that Krishna is behind everything. He says, "Aham sarvasya prabhu, matah sarvam pravartate." Everything emanates from me, and all these universes, spiritual and material planets, they're coming from me. And the last word, it says that the suspended progressive work of creation can only be revived by the direction of the Lord. So I got this word direction, meaning there is a director, and Krishna is a supreme director. Even in our material affair, when somebody wants to make a movie, there is always a director. He directs everything. Not even the star has anything to say about it. Whenever he says something, director, everybody follows. Supreme director. And here Krishna is the supreme director. And he glances over the Mahatattva, which is lying there, ready to receive the mercy from Lord. Something like that. So he's the supreme director. And yes. So whatever you find interesting that in the purport, maybe you can tell us.
Sure. Before I read Srila Vishwanath's purport, I was just looking at some of the Sanskrit, like the way it's worded and the way Prabhupada translates it, and what's being said, like Svashaktinam Satinam. He translates as his own potency, and his potency is so situated. And the word Satinam, in another sense, means referring to chaste women.
Mm.
And of course, we understand that Krishna's Shaktis are his devotional Shaktis, as Chit, Aladini, and Samvit. So they're all his potencies. He's the Purusha, they're all Prakriti. So it's almost as if we're talking about Krishna's energies personified in some female form as his wives are just waiting for direction for him to tell them what to do.
Very
Um,
interesting.
anyway, let me read Srila Vishwanath's part of it here. I'll just read it a little briefly. He says that this chapter describes how when the Paramatma enters, universal form appears with the energies. And the elements are called the Lord's Shakti because they're the effect of his Maya Shakti. And then the Lord sees the condition of his activities are in a sleeping state with unmixed elements. And then the Lord enters into it. It says he entered while holding Prakriti. He says that means that first he entered the elements by his energy, in his words, causing cohesion. In other words, for things to stick together. And then after 1,000 years, he entered the elements as Paramatma. Then he lists the 23 elements, including the Mahat Tattva, all the senses, the gross elements, etc. Then he quotes a couple of Shastras. One is the Taittiriya Upanishad. Just briefly, he says, having created the universe, the Lord entered it. Typical of the Upanishad to state things really tersely. And that's pretty much what he says there, Srila Vishwanath.
Thank you, Ekendra Guru. Thank you. Yes. So if anybody has any question about this is a very short purport and first verse, so we can go next verse. If anybody doesn't have any suggestion, question. Right.
Well, first, I just wanted to say, Prabhu, I really appreciated you saying that when you first read it, you had to think about it a couple times before, because as I was reading it, this is all information of what happens before even the universe comes into shape or comes into any kind of moving state.
Yes.
And here we are in the the 21st century of this particular Kali Yuga, and we've been going on with our lives and mostly thinking that we're just products of material energy like everybody else thinks.
Right.
And it's so hard for conditioned souls to get a handle on this kind of information that is outside. It's like the interface between the spiritual and material is being described, how things come into being at all. And it's I was hearing Prabhupada giving class how when you're sleeping, you don't remember what it's like to be in your body that's lying down doing stuff with your family and friends and work and all that stuff. You just completely forget it. And then when you're awake, you forget all the sleeping stuff that's going on in your mind. And this whole dreamlike material world is being very methodically carried out and now described. And so for us to really understand that, it's so hard because we've been in the sleeping condition for such a long time.
Yes, yes. That's the reason we need to follow up Shastra, Guru, and Vaishnava, and that helps us so much. Okay, so let's go to text number 2.
Prabhu, I just wanted to say that Saraswati Mata has something in the chat box. I can read it to you, or if you'd like.
No, I have it. Hold on.
Okay, good.
Let's see. Okay, yes. Saraswati Mata saying, Hare Krishna, Pranam. It always blows my mind how anyone can think creation, maintenance, and dissolution can take place like a perfectly oiled machine, but it's all random process with no supreme being controlling the entire process. Process with no supreme being controlling the entire process. Yeah, the atheistic people, they think everything is done automatically, but they have no idea that there's a Lord behind everything, and they do have idea that everything is done, but when the cosmic manifestation comes in the picture, they forget about the Lord. They want to forget about the Lord. They say everything just happens by automatic and nothing is behind the whole process. So yes, thank you very much. Okay, text number 2. Kala sangyam tada devim bibrak chakrim urukrama त्रयोविंशति तत्त्वानां ganam yugap avisat. The Supreme Powerful Lord then simultaneously entered into the 23 elements with the goddess Kali, his external energy, who alone amalgamated all the different elements. Now, this is a little technical here. Purport. The ingredients of matter are counted as 23. The total material energy, false ego, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, earth, water, fire, air, sky, eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, hand, legs, evacuating organ, genitals, speech, and mind. All are combined together by the influence of time and are again dissolved in the course of time. Time, therefore, is the energy of the Lord and act in her own way by the direction of the Lord. This energy is called Kali, and it is represented by the dark, destructive goddess, generally worshipped by persons influenced by the mode of darkness or ignorance in material existence. In the Vedic hymns, this process is described as Mula Prakrutir, Avaiktira, Mahadadya, Prakrutir, Vikrusya, Sapta, Sodaskau, Tu, Vikaro na, Prakrutir na, Vikruti, Purushaha. The energy which acts as material nature is a combination of 23 ingredients, is not the final source of creation. The Lord enters into the elements and applies his energy, called Kali. In all other Vedic scripture, the same principle is accepted. In Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Ekopya asu rachatyum jagad anda kotim yash chakstir asti jagad anda chashya yat ananta andantarastha paramanu jayantar sthim govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the primal Lord Govinda, who is the original personality of Godhead. By his partial plenary expansion, Mahavishnu, he enters into material nature and into each and every universe as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and then as Kshirodaksha Vishnu into all the elements, including every atom of matter. Such manifestations of cosmic creation are innumerable both in the universes and in the individual atoms. Similarly, this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:42, Athva bahunenter tena kim gnatena tattvajuna vistavyutum idam sutnam ekameshan stito jagat. This is from the universal form. O Arjun, there is no necessity of your knowing about me innumerable energies, which acts in various ways. I enter into the material creation by my partial plenary expansion, Paramatma, or the Super Soul, in all the universes and in all the elements thereof, and thus the work of creation goes on. The wonderful activities of material nature are due to Lord Krishna, and thus he is the final cause, or the ultimate cause of all causes. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govind, Sarva Karanakaram. He is the cause of all causes. Okay, so let's see what I have prepared something here. By the way, this Sankhya philosophy was propounded by Kapil Dev, son of Devhuti. And there's a big chapter about him. I think it's Canto 3. Okay. So it's a common sense that everything happens by someone. Just in a simple way of saying. So similarly, in this material world, everything happened by Krishna's energy. And there's a dissolution at the end of the Brahma's life, and at the end of Brahma's day. There's two kinds of dissolution. One is partial, and the other is complete dissolution. So me and my wife was reading Srimad Bhagavatam the other day, and we came up with a nice purport. Let's see. So this is on Canto 1st, chapter number 10, text 21. In the purport, Prabhupada says, there are two types of dissolution of the manifested cosmos. At the end of every 4.32 million solar years, when Brahma, the Lord of one particular universe, goes to sleep, there is one annihilation. So that is a partial annihilation. And at the end of Brahma's life, which takes place at the end of Brahma's 100 years of age, so Prabhupada says in our calculation, 8.64 billion, multiplied by 30, multiplied by 12, multiplied by 100. That comes out 311 trillion years and 40 billion years. That's the calculation. 311 trillion. So that's a long way. It's 100 years of Lord Brahma. So at that time, the complete annihilation occurs in each universe. In both the period, both the material energy called Mahatattva and material marginal energy called Jivatattva merge in the person of the Supreme Lord. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada describes in the cover of old Srimad Bhagavatam that the whole spiritual world in the sky, at one corner, the material universe is covered by that corner, and it is covered by Mahatattva and Jivatattva, two energies, and the whole thing is called Pradhan, and then it covers some part of the spiritual sky, and then the activities begins from there. So the Lord Shri Krishna, in the form is Mahavishnu, he glances over that Mahatattva, and it agitates, and all the universes, all the jivas, they kind of wake up and take it. They try to do their activities according to their karma. So it's interesting how this whole thing occurs. Without the glance of Mahavishnu, nothing would happen. And again, he does not come in direct touch with the material nature. He glances over through Lord Shiva. Okay. So Lord Shri Krishna expands into Mahavishnu and then glances over, and then from his pore, the universes are coming up. And as he enters into each and every universe as a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and then in that universe, there is a Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and from his navel, a lotus sprouts, and then from the lotus, Lord Brahma comes out, and Lord Brahma starts to create the universe and also all the living entities already created, and they, excuse me, so. And in this verse, time is a factor. Time is very important. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, let me just answer. Sorry. So yes, so we are talking about time. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Time I am, the destroyer of everybody." Kalosmi. The time factor is so important that we all have to follow time. Without time, nothing happens. And at the end, it says, as a super soul, I'm directing everybody. Okay, any question or comments?
Saraswati Mata has something in the chat box there.
Sure, thanks. Okay. Before that, Anand Shesha says, imagine a dictionary forming after the explosion in a printing press. Yes, my Guru Maharaj used to do this example. In a press, everything is scattered, and all of a sudden the book comes up. So that's not possible. Thank you. Okay, Saraswati Mata says, is there no necessity to know? Is there no necessity to know about all of the Lord's innumerable energies, because it's beyond any jiva's capacity to understand it, and or because it's not essential in perfecting your devotional service? Yes, a very thoughtful question. I don't think it's necessary to know all Lord Krishna's energy, because like you said, it's innumerable. All we have to know is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead. I am his servant. My job is to serve him. Jive Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. So we are all servant of Krishna, and all we have to do is follow the rules and regulation, just like Prabhupada gave us the method. Follow rules and regulation, chant 16 rounds every day, and read some sastras and have association with the devotees. So this is very important. And then in course of time, somehow or other, you get this knowledge. I don't know how and why, but gradually, if you perform your sadhana correctly and chant your round nicely, listen to it, and perform devotional service that can be done in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Dashyam, Sakhyam, and Atmanirbhar. There's eight ways you can do it. And somewhere I read that once you do all these things, automatically you develop the quality like Krishna has, and also you develop all the knowledge. Somehow it works. And like you said, Krishna has innumerable energies, and it's very hard to know all of them. Okay, so anybody else has any comments?
Oh, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate Saraswati Mata's question, because here we are reading about Krishna's innumerable energies and how they act in various ways. So here we're hearing about them to some degree, and at the same time, Krishna says you don't have to know all of them. So like you're saying, you need to know enough. I was hearing Prabhupada say that for this simple common man, just chant Hare Krishna.
That's right.
And then if for everybody else who thinks, what is this nonsense Hare Krishna? We have so many books.
Yes, yes.
Tulsi,
But over the period, you do develop sense of what Krishna has to say to you over the period. You understand. That's why the Guru is very important. You know, he bestows upon you the mercy, and then from within from within the Paramatma, and from without, Guru can take you along and perfect your life. So anybody says you don't need a Guru, then that's not a Vedic way of thinking it. You do need guidance. Even as a children, they all need guidance, and we are children of Krishna. And somehow or other, we got in touch with Prabhupada and his movement, and their disciple bestows mercy upon us, and that's how these things will go on. It's like parampara system. So, anything important in purport, Kendra Prabhu, you saw?
well, the purport for verse number 2 from Srila Vishwanath's side is included in his
Oh yeah, that's
the
right.
one I already read. But Tulsi Priya has something, a comment in the chat window for you.
Okay, let's see. Okay, Tulsi Priya says, it seems like learning what is made known to us is necessary because we have forgotten our position and forgotten Krishna's position. Otherwise, exactly what and who we are we surrendering to? It would be superficial surrender. Yes. Seems like learning what is made known to us is necessary. Oh yes, that's what we learn. We have to kind of apply it in our life. Yes, it's necessary. Okay. Yes, Susigan. Okay. And here it talks about Kali, right? Well, interesting how Prabhupada defined the material energy as Kali, and it's a female one. So, Ekala Ishvara Krishna, also Bhritya. That means the only one, Ekala Ishvara, the supreme controller is Krishna, and we are all his servants. So he is in a sense, he's the only male and we are all female, Prakriti. So like a faithful wife follows her husband, so we have to follow Krishna. We have to follow him. Follow him in chant his glories and try to do Krishna to others, glorify him in that way. And even Kali has a thankless task. Durga. I remember the incident, Bharat Maharaj, as a Jad Bharat, the dacoits took him for the worship of Goddess Kali, and they wanted to offer him his flesh, Goddess Kali. And she could not bear this. So she just jumped out from the deity form and killed everybody. They were playing with their skulls and they were drinking the heart blood. So this is what happens if you mess with the devotees. Krishna somehow protects them and takes care of the other side. Okay, Tulsipriya, yes.
Hi, Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you so much for your class. So when you were talking about, all jivas are female in relation to the Supreme Lord, and the implication in that is that is natural, that the Lord is male, he's the superior, he's the one to be served, and it's natural that the jivas are female, in relation to the Lord and the servants. So the implication is that that's the natural order of things. The male is the controller, the feminine is the controlled. And of course, as you know, nowadays, not many people buy into that idea. And of course, in the material world, it's full of inebrieties. So, we may see that men not necessarily deserve to be served all the time, and women may not be always the best servants. And I guess my question is that I guess myself, sometimes I wonder, because Prabhupada says it very, very adamantly, he says, God is always male. He's always the controller, because sometimes people worship Goddess Kali, and so so that this conditioning that I have is like, well, why is it that because he's male, why can't the female be the controller, And of course, we know about Radharani, but that's a very intricate thing, to understand, like the relationship between Srimati Radharani and Krishna, and how she's controlling him, but the roles are that he's the controller and she's his, devoted servant. How do you, if somebody says to you, why does Krishna have to be the supreme? Why can't Radharani, how would you say it in an easy way for somebody who doesn't understand the intricacies, who might have objections to this idea of the male being the supreme controller, because he's the male? Any thoughts on that?
Yes, that's why in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj says, Ekala Ishwar Krishna or Sarvatya. Meaning Krishna is the whole and soul, and we are all his servants. So the way I can say that, if we have to follow the Shastra, we have to take the words of Krishnadas Kaviraj, and then and also we have to follow the Shastra, like I said, and also our acharyas, like Prabhupada and his disciples and the generation. So unless and until we do that, there is always going to be superiority, inferiority, and everything else. But that's how I can describe that. We have sadhu, guru, and shastra. There is no other way we can solve this problem, because we are, like you said, we are conditioned, and in material world, there is always male and female, and somebody superior, somebody is controlling somebody. But if you Krishna conscious, or if you chant Hare Krishna and follow the rules and everything, you immediately grasp that thing that we are not in control. Nobody's in control. Everybody is done by Krishna or his energy. Krishna says, Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti. So sweet. Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti. I am superintendent of the energy, Prakriti. So that's what Shastra says. And when we hear from our Guru and all the acharyas, they say the same thing, that Krishna is only male, and we are all a female part, and we are controlled by Krishna. So I don't know whether I answer your question.
Yes, I think, ultimately you're saying we accept Shastra and it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And in the material world, there is inebrieties, like you're saying, inferior, superior, because we're conditioned. Yeah. So I think it's a hard thing, because I think people have a problem with accepting that there's any type of hierarchy at all. There's the illusion of equality and oneness. It's sort of like a Mayavad, social Mayavadism, like, oh, everybody's the same, when it's clearly not the truth,
Mm-hmm.
And so, to me, it's always been like a filter, like if first of all, you have to buy into the idea that you're not your body, that you are your body, to be put off by this, but if you accept I'm not my body, but I'm temporarily in the body, then different ideas about male and female don't affect you so much,
Or somebody
And-
insults you, or it just goes through like that. Hey, I'm not this
Mhm.
body. That's
Yeah.
one
So
way to do it.
I appreciate what you're saying, whether we like it or not, we have to accept Shastra and Guru. And, I think when you do accept it, even if you don't like it, if you accept it, then gradually you understand in it, you get what it really means, and not just the material concept of male and female superiority, inferiority, and all of that.
It'll always be there in material world.
Mhm.
That's why we have to just cultivate spiritual knowledge and get over with it. Yes.
There are some nice comments in the chat.
Can you read for me, please?
Sure. Saraswati Mataji says, I think the word controller and controlled generally brings an unwelcome image of some unfair dominance and exploitation. But to be controlled willingly by someone that loves you unconditionally is a privilege and very much wanted, because they have only your welfare in mind. And then Haridas Prabhu says, male or female, the predominating force is above us, and we must submit to the laws that affect us. Father or Mother Nature may not be the most pertinent issue, but what does it mean to be subordinate to nature or providence and confess to not being independent? That is a key issue.
Yes.
Thank you. That's really nice.
Very nice. Yes. And like Saraswati Mataji said, it's a privilege and very much wanted, because they have only your welfare in the mind. Yes. That's why that's why the children follows their parents, because they know whatever they do is good for me. It's just like, and then we have same conception with Lord Shri Krishna. He is our father, and he gives us daily bread, and he maintains us. Something.
And what I'm getting from what Haridas Prabhu said is that, it's my synthesis of it is that it's kind of a waste of time to get, to be concerned about who is superior and who is inferior, because we're, like you were saying, we're all inferior. We're all under the control of nature, and we're not independent. And then going back to what Saraswati Mataji was saying, if we're being cared for, if we're actually cared for and somebody wants to tell us what to do for our own benefit, it's not so bad. It's not, it's a good thing. We want it. People want, they want health benefits, and they want to be taken care of by the government, but the government doesn't do anything, and so we don't want to do what the government says either.
Yeah, right.
Or they don't
Yeah.
do enough anyways.
So,
Sharanagati also has a comment.
okay, let's see. Yes, Sharanagati said, I have thought about this more recently. Just because we don't like something doesn't mean it's not true. I wouldn't introduce someone to Krishna consciousness with one being inferior or homosexuality or anything like that. But as we learn more and more and put our ego aside, it's so much easier to start understanding how karma plays into these things. Luckily, as a devotee of Krishna, we don't have to worry about material hierarchies. Yes, very true, very true. And Panch Tattva says, in this world, we have little or no experience of perfect shelter or someone we can submit to without adverse experience. It's hard for the conditioned soul to perceive of such a thing. Very true. Thank you for your input. Nice. Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, when we grow up, we have so much faith. I mean, we do have faith to our parents and our father and mother. That's how we start out with faith. But then over the period, we grow and we grow up and have our own ideas. And if we don't have a shelter of higher spiritual thing, like association of the devotees, then we forget about the whole thing. We did go to our parents when we were younger, but then when you grow up, you don't want to go, or you're rebellious. So when you develop bhakti in your heart or with good association, then there's somebody to go. We go to Prabhupada and say, please help me, or we go to the deities and say, please help me. So this is today when I had to give the class, so I went to my deities and said, please help me, so I can say a few words nicely. So yes, we need to develop our spiritual asset. There's no other way. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I was talking about, I was thinking about that Kali situation, the material energy of Lord Shri Krishna. And she really takes care of everybody in this material world, whether they like it or not. And according to her karma, she had a duty to do the punishment, those who are rebellious, and but those who are Krishna conscious, we don't have to worry about karma. In India, they pray and worship Mother Kali, Kali Mata, and they think it's spiritual. All the tantrics and the black arts people, they still what do you call it? They still practice that, and they think it's spiritual. But Prabhupada says that it's not spiritual; it's all material. And that may help you to get rid of some of the problems, but that's not our that's not our goal of solving the problems, especially janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, birth, death, old age, disease. It will be taken care of, but all we can do is behave in this material world in such a way that we qualify to go back home with Krishna. And that can be done by there's a process, spiritual process given by our acharyas, and chanting Hare Krishna mantra and following regular principle and follow the Shastra. Read, association is very important. So, yeah, like I said, in India, the people really after all this black art, but it's not do any good to you. Long time ago, I had a friend, and he was following some kind of black art, and the way he was behaving was like a ghost, you know. Like when you see him, his demor or his look is frightening also. And I told him, this is all material. You don't get anywhere with these things. Okay, Saraswati had a question.
Yes, Hare Krishna. I just wanted to share that I was speaking with some people who were worshipping Devtas, and I was asking them, why do you do this? And they were saying, because we know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the reason why we are worshipping Durga Mata or Shivji is because we understand that we want something, and they can grant us the favor very quickly and very easily and with the least amount of effort. So I was telling them that that might be true, but isn't it better to go to, whether you want something, you have some desires you want to fulfill, isn't it still better to go to Krishna? Because if he's not fulfilling your desire and not giving something to you, then, you know, chances are that's not good for you. That's why he's not giving it to you. So it's always best to go to Lord Krishna, because ultimately he will give something to you if it's going to help you in your spiritual life. Whereas going to Devtas, sure, you can please them and you'll get it, but that might not, that favor that's granted might really not really be good for you in your spiritual life. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing your idea, because like you said, in India, especially in India, people go for material things and they want quick right away. So Lord Shiva he's Ashutosh, it's called Ashutosh, and then he will grant you right away. But they don't know that if he gets angry, he can curse you right away also, you know. And so there's both parts. But like you said, we've been so fortunate having in touch with Prabhupada and his family and in ISKCON that only Krishna is worshipable deity, and we know all these things. But it's hard to tell people in general, especially in Indian communities, that not to worship Devatas, because here we go, they want right away these things. So the way we can present them is there's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that if you have a desire or no desire, if you want liberation or no liberation, what is that verse? Panchatattva Prabhu, what he says?
Kama moksha kama uddari tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param.
In translation?
Well, as I recall, whether one is without desire, full of material desires, or desiring liberation, one should, by all means and with great attention, worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thank you very much. So yes, even Srimad Bhagavatam says this thing. You know, Sukadeva Goswami had no other business than teach us or guide us. So he didn't write for nothing. So we can tell this thing also, but it will be hard for them to understand. But somehow or other, we can involve them in our Krishna consciousness movement, and then they come and hear something about Krishna and hear somebody gives a lecture. Then and then there is a possibility of them to understand these things. It's very hard. Or if they just start chanting Hare Krishna, and Krishna will reveal them some inside thoughts. Otherwise, like you said, it's very hard for them to understand these things. Even we were in that position, we wanted things right away. And what do? You just ask for the demigods to do that. But in Bhagavad Gita, it says that demigod worship is for less intelligent people. And it's not worth doing that. So thank you for listening my 4 presentations. But thanks
Wonderful
for
presentation, Prabhu.
oh, thank you. But I really thank all the listeners to what do you call bear with me, and that's all I have to say. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
It was
Jai.
great. It was really good. We missed a bit of a part of it because we were driving, but it was really nice. Well done, Prabhu. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Virendra Prabhu. Anybody was for Kirtan ready or no?
I didn't get any volunteers, so
Yes, yeah, I'm the volunteer.
All
Hare
right.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo.
Haribo.
Thank you so much, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu.
Mahesh Pandit Prabhu ki.
Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai.
Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu.
Thank you for listening. So nice. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone for being here, and hopefully we'll see you again and hear from you again on Monday, if not sooner, as circumstances permit. So thank you again, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu.
Thank you.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Yeah. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bo. Jai Jai.